Welcome to Capture the World with Dee. Interviews with companies and individuals to learn more about digitally capturing the built world. Video, drone, 3D tours, pictures, panoramas, and more. And now your host, a social influencer and community activist, Dee Johnson.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Capture the World with Dee. I'm your host, Dee Johnson. Today's episode is being sponsored by QB Casa, the makers of a revolutionary app that allows you to scan a property with your mobile device in under 5 minutes and get a professional floor plan the next business day. If you haven't checked them out yet, go to qb.casa. That's cubi.casa and start scanning today. Remember, your first scan is always free. My guest today is the owner of InboundREM, which stands for Inbound Real Estate Marketing. It's a full-service company for real estate lead generation that focuses on SEO, which is search engine optimization. So without further ado, please help me welcome Robert Newman.
Wow, that's
Hey,
a hell of
Robert.
a hey, Dee. That's a hell of an intro. Thank you.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate it. I'm really happy to be here today.
Yeah, we're happy to have you. Thank you for taking the time. So, tell us about yourself and about Inbound REM.
Sure. So, my name is Robert Newman. Um, I am the founder of Inbound REM, and so we do. I do identify. I use language that is simpler for people to understand, and I say that we're like a company that focuses on SEO. The truth is that the company actually does exactly what it says in the title of the company, which is focuses on a kind of marketing that's called inbound marketing. Now, inbound marketing is more like you produce a really incredible answer to questions that people have. The thing about today's world, though, is that in order for that answer to be found, you kind of have to know how the search engines work, and you have to know all the ins and outs about how are you going to get something discovered on the internet. So that whole process is more commonly called search engine optimization. So I oftentimes say search engine optimization, but truly I view myself as an inbound marketer. And that's what really kind of more of what we do. Um, so when we talked about this yesterday, Dee, I think that you gave me the opportunity to have like say whatever I wanted to say, right? Tell
Yep.
whatever story I wanted to tell.
Yep.
All right. Okay. So then I'm going to go on a little bit of a monologue here, which you got very familiar with yesterday when we did the walkthrough about how we're gonna do this. So and the monologue for those that are watching is I decided Dee gave me a platform and I just decided that what I wanted to do with that platform is talk about why there is an inbound REM, what got me into it, because actually I'd retired from the real estate marketing industry and had no intention of actually getting back into it. What had happened was in 2007 and 2008, the market had crashed. Oddly enough, the real estate market had crashed, and I'd been running very, very, very large call centers. I was running one of the largest, if not the largest, independently owned call center in the Western United States at the time that the economy melted down the last time. It's not doing so great this time. So what happened was I'm running this really large call center. It's 1,100 people, Dee, and I had 3 people in a web development department, and I was calling myself the call center manager, but I was really more of like the director of marketing, even though that wasn't my title. But I had 3 people reporting to me that were doing a website, and then I had 1,100 people in 3 different countries that were doing phone calls. And the people that were doing the phone calls, those 1,100 people, were generating new like video memberships to a service. And I kept looking at the numbers. Like I got these spreadsheets and, sitting down in my office, and this 3-person web development department, like just in the 6 months I was running the call center, their numbers So like at first it was they were doing as 11% as much new subscriptions as my 1,100 people on the phone. Then they were doing 12%, then they were doing 14%, then they were doing 18%, and then they were doing 20%. And somewhere along the way, as I realized I was going to have to lay off a whole bunch of people for like the 5th time in my career in the last few years, and it was breaking my heart. And I was looking at these numbers, and I had this epiphany. I was like, I don't want to do call center stuff anymore. And why the hell am I not doing online? Like, why don't I know how these 3 people are generating 20% of the revenue of my 1,100 call center employees? Because I didn't know. I had no idea. I had no idea. I didn't even know how they were, like, I had no clue how they were doing the numbers. All I knew is we had a website, and I had zero idea about how that website was generating all these memberships, because it was a lot. It was a lot of them. It was close to like 80, 90, 100 a month. It was crazy. So when that gig ended, and it ended horribly, and it did end with me laying people off, and then it ended with them laying me off. So it was like, it was, you know, I did the hatchet job, and then I got hatchets myself. And in that process, I decided, in the middle of what was almost a Great Depression, to get myself a new career. So I took a 70% pay cut. I was making, I don't know, a couple $100,000. And I sent out 300 resumes, and I finally found a place that was going to give me a job. And that was Agent Image. And that was a gig where I was able finally to get into online marketing. That was probably about the end of 2007, beginning of 2008. And I don't know if you remember much about that time, Dee, but you quite literally, if you took a pen and tried to put it in a calendar and said, what would have been the absolute positively worst time to work for a real estate marketing services company in almost all of history? And that time, that year, would have been the worst time ever. So I make the career shift, take a 70% pay cut in the worst time in history. And that is how I got into real estate marketing, which led me into things like SEO and doing paid advertising. And we were selling real estate websites. And I did that for 4 or 5 years. And then they actually took the division that I had worked for and helped create, and they a guy by the name of there was another guy whose actual division it was, so I wasn't, but I did all the majority of the heavy lifting for the sales side of it, and he did all the operations and the running of it and the management of it and that kind of thing. So I know this is a long-winded story, but apparently I've got the time. The thing is that I got so they sold the division, and I was really upset about it, and I left the company. And then I got hired on by and this I don't talk about very often with anybody, so you're getting something that not very many people hear, Dee. I actually got hired on by an independent web development company called Cyplex. And the reason I don't mention it is because it wasn't real estate. It wasn't real estate specific. And I was hired on as the SVP, the Senior Vice President of Sales. And they put me in charge of running a sales team that was dedicated to doing really high-end web development contracts, especially in comparison to what I had done so far, which was just real estate. So now I'm doing bids for stuff like Facebook for billionaires and movie stars' websites and really large, complex projects like the email marketing system for the DNC, and working with very high-end developer teams, working with e-commerce platforms like Magento. And I really got a crash course in what high-end, high-scale web development services look like and worked with a whole team of like independent, like all of the people that I was working with were just of such a caliber that I had never met before. Like there was the former, not the CTO, but a couple steps down from a a division of Comcast, and he was the CEO of the company. There was the founder of the company has gone on to found another company called Pluto TV, and they took that and sold that to Comcast. It was a $390 million buyout. So these guys were real heavyweights in the digital marketing world, and still are, all of these guys that I work with. And so I really learned a lot about development and running web companies. The problem was is that these jobs were huge. The stress was tremendous, and the recognition was almost zero. And so at some point they brought somebody in. They were growing the company, and they brought somebody in that actually had very specific experience to the role that I was running. And the writing was on the wall that they were going to let me go. So instead of letting them get me to that point, what happened was I started reaching out, and lo and behold, of course, the company that had bought the division from Agent Image wanted to hire me back to run their sales efforts, which is not surprising because I had been doing it the entire time, and the division really didn't work well without me. So back I go to doing that, and I do that for another 4 or 5 years. So I'm now back in real estate and doing once again high-end web development, working with some of the top luxury brokers in LA. And about 2015, this company, they were really getting ready to get out of being real estate specialists. As a matter of fact, I'll mention their name. It's Inforza, but I'll bet almost everybody on the show is going to be like, who's Inforza? They didn't stay specializing real estate. They bought this real estate division, this real estate marketing division from Agent Image, which is a huge producer of real estate websites. And then they mothballed it, basically. They still do it, but very, very little of it. They don't focus. And so I had been doing real estate, Dee. I'm just keep going, but I've been doing real estate for 9 or 10 years. And I had some private clients that I'd nurtured that were non-real estate related, that were SEO consulting contracts. I had dentists and a couple of galleries and things like that. And when I saw them getting out of real estate, I'm like, I'm done. I've been doing real estate now for 9 years on and off. And real estate SEO is really not that diverse of a topic in the world of SEO. You can do really large e-commerce sites and kind of have a more challenging, complex job. And so I decided, but I've been doing it for 9 years. So I should leave with some grace, and I should give some of the knowledge that I have back to the people that gave me the knowledge in the first place, which was the real estate agents and the brokers. And so I decided that I'd start a blog. And on that blog, I was going to point out, Dee, all the beautiful things that somebody should do. They should own their own website. They should do some basic SEO on it. They should focus on inbound marketing. I can talk about all that, right? I can just blog about it. I don't need to get back and do a service business. I'll just tell everybody what to do, right? Makes sense, right? Mm-hmm. So I do it. I start a blog in 2015, InboundREM.com. And I diligently start blogging, and that took me about a year and a half to gain any kind of momentum because it was a horribly difficult discipline for me to learn. But I get there eventually, start blogging. And what the hell? I discover, to my shock, that when I start trying to write about things to recommend people, like go build a real estate WordPress website you own. Simple, right? Well, there's only 2 companies that were doing it that would allow you to own it. Inforza, who was, as I was already saying, not specializing or focusing anymore. Not that they built a horrible website, but they weren't building anything exceptional, and they were putting no resources into making a really awesome real estate website. And then you had Agent Image, who we had just come from, and they made branding sites. They made really pretty sites that had nothing to do with SEO or lead generation at all. And the more that I got to know about how really the technical aspect of building sites and all that stuff worked, the more I realized how deeply true that was. Like, there is just simply no, forgive me, everybody, my hair is driving me crazy. There we go. All right.
Well, at least you have hair.
I got I look like a mad scientist. I could no, truly. See, look, see this streak? I'm not even kidding. I look like a mad scientist. So, um, the the uh, these sites that they just wouldn't. Um, the places I was trying to recommend people to, they really didn't exist. They just didn't exist. And then there were places that I could guide people to that were competitors, but they stood for everything I did not believe for in real estate. They have websites that you don't own, ownership, like ownership of these companies where the owners are not very customer service friendly, and I'm being kind about it. Like, they just really didn't give a rat's ass. The real estate industry has been getting taken advantage of by every single person that's gotten like that knows and understands technology for as long as I've been in it. And the trend continues. And real estate agents, all of them that I spoke to, were super frustrated because there are real sharp professionals who really understand what they want and what they need, and they can't find anybody to give it to them. Not one company. It's crazy how it works. And if you do talk to somebody, usually a custom shop, like somebody, let's say you have a real strong idea of what you want to, like a lead generation site that you want to build, right? Half the time it's going to cost you 10, 20, 30 grand because that's how much custom web developers cost. And I know because I was one of them. So I'm not making those numbers up. Those are real numbers, guys. So that's really how much it costs to do a custom website with like a full agency, a full shop. So here I am writing this blog and I'm realizing, shit, I got nowhere to recommend people to. So what do I do? And that's when I finally realized that that I probably, if I wanted to do this all right, I had to start a service company, which, hand to God, I didn't want to do. Like I was done with real estate. I could just write a blog and do affiliate marketing, which is where you drive traffic to your blog and send people someplace else and you get paid a commission, which is exactly what all of the big websites in my space do, like the Close and Fitness, Fit Small Business. All these guys make their money off sending traffic someplace else. I could be a professional blogger and make money that way. So, but I couldn't do it and maintain any kind of ethics or morality from me personally, because I rail against the companies that these guys send all of the traffic to, like Fit Small Business and the Close, which you may not know these websites, Steve, but they're huge real estate blogging sites. Like we're talking 20, 30, 40, 50,000 visitors per month. And what they do is they send all their users to companies that they're not doing great jobs. It's not that they're horrible, but they're sending people straight back to Zillow, which is already something that most real estate professionals feel like they're competing against. And then they send them to Zerple and other places that are kind of second tier providers that are exactly part of the real estate marketing industry's problems. They're not really great solutions. And they'll just lock you in and provide terrible customer service for long-term contracts that provide questionable value. That's the best way I can put it. So I'm like, really, guys, you got to sell out to them. And that's how inbound real estate marketing was started, is that I looked at the industry, I looked at what was happening, and I decided that I couldn't live with myself unless I provided a solution to all those problems. Building a website destination that you owned, having that website focus correctly, like build a good framework so that if you did produce great content, Google would find it easily and that you would get recognized on the search engines. And also making sure that all of the services that we provided are transparently examinable. So in other words, that you can go on to like different tools that we provide and then look and see exactly what it is that we're doing. And if you ask any questions of my team, they'll even tell you how we're doing it if you really wanted to know. And so these services were provided like in a very unusual way. Like everybody just says, oh, you got to pay us $1,200 a month and we'll we're not really going to tell you what we're doing, but we're doing something. I promise. So we changed all that at InboundREM. And the odd thing is with all technology companies, you've worked for this one, and have you worked for others? I forget. Like,
Yes.
is this you've worked for? Yeah, that's right. You worked for Google. Well, here's a weird thing about technology, Dee, is that no matter how good you think you are, or how much you know what you're doing, or how much money that you've got, when you decide that you're going to build a technical product, it almost always takes you 3 times or 4 times or 5 times longer than you think it was. So I build my company and I go, hey, I'm going to build my own WordPress web stack theme. That should be easy. They've already done all the work building WordPress, right? So I'm just going to customize it to real estate, and I'll be done with that in about 3 weeks. And huzzah, right? So
Yeah.
2.5 years later, and I'm not even kidding. When I started this, I had a very small amount of money. I'm not going to embarrass myself online and tell you how little money I had, but I really didn't have enough money to start a company in the first place. But I did it anyway, and then I'm like, and a few $1,000s, and I will have the solution to this. So we're talking 2.5 years later, and well over $200,000 of my own money. And I finally have a working WordPress website theme that is designed specifically for real estate, that actually does things in terms of like inbound marketing things that no other site does. It doesn't have a back end like all of my competitors have, but it does do some really cool things in terms of appearance and parsing information and providing you tools in order to produce content, which is exactly what I focus on. And actually, that's not true. One of my competitors focuses on Easy Agent Pro is going in the same direction, but they don't let you own the website. So it's not really, by my measurement, it's not really a direct competitor. I've been talking for 23 straight minutes. I can keep going. I really can. But, do you
Keep. So tell us more about who would use your product.
So my product is designed. This company and that product are 100% designed for real estate. Okay, so real estate professionals, and most likely the person that's gonna. I have a customer profile. It's the agent who's been doing business for a long time, who's got probably 3 to 5 years or more under their belt, in terms of being a real estate professional. It is small teams, big teams, medium-sized teams are almost all going to need back-end tools that I don't provide. I can build them in, like with Follow-Up Boss, but most of the teams, when they get to be larger sizes, it depends on what they need, but a lot of them are going to look at like Sync or Boomtown, which you may not know, but these are real estate marketing services in my vertical that do large trackable CRM stuff designed for teams. And so it depends on what you want, though. Like if you've already got that and you're looking for like an organic marketing solution, even larger teams would build a website with me. They would just keep a back end with those other tools and then send all the leads to that place. But you have to be a pretty big team with your hand in a lot of pies in order for all of that to work out. Most of my clients are on the small independent broker side, or they're 3 to 5 people, like they're smaller organizations. I do have a couple bigger teams that work with me, don't get me wrong, but they're not the majority of my client base.
So if I'm a real estate agent and I sign up with you, you'll set up a website for me?
Yeah, I'll
And
build a website. Yeah.
and then I'll get tons of leads from that website.
Theoretically, I mean, it takes a while for SEO. I've got people that have turned on PPC. The objective of inbound marketing is not tons of leads. It's more like we're going to focus on quality. That's what I want. I don't want, I can turn on any, like, there's a literally 5 or 10 services that I could send you to in real estate, and 3 weeks later, you're going to be getting 100 low quality leads every month. but you'll only close one out of those 100,
Mm.
and you'll have to chase the other 99.
Mm.
That's not what
Okay.
inbound marketing is supposed to be about. That's not what my websites do. I will generate more, like a good campaign is usually between 20 and 50 leads per month. But we want, of those 20 and 50, we want there to be 2, 3, 4 transactions. It's usually somewhere in the neighborhood of 3 to 400% higher quality in terms of lead conversion as compared to the correct terminology is direct marketing solutions.
Yeah. So what's the difference between direct marketing and inbound marketing?
Direct marketing is where you go out and you pay to get direct to your consumers. So that would be Facebook, that would be Google. Those are various types of direct marketing. Like, I'm going to get right to the top of a search engine. YouTube is direct marketing. Twitter, you can do direct marketing. Sorry, YouTube, where you pay to be in front of somebody when they're watching somebody else's video. That's basically direct advertising. I am advertising directly to you while you're doing something else, and I want you to come check my stuff out over here.
Yep.
That's direct advertising.
Okay.
So that's not what I do. I produce great content. The search engines put it up to the top of the search engines by themselves. You find it organically because you're researching something that we've been talking about. And then you look at my answer, and if you like my answer, you register with the website and you get in touch with the realtor.
So that's the key. You like my answer. Talk about that.
Right. Talk about liking your answer.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's exactly why I was so excited about Kubicasa. Liking somebody's answer is providing information usually in a way that people have never seen before or they haven't thought of before. Like, I'll give you an example. One of the things that we talk about on some of my website projects is property taxes, and you really can't find a more boring or mundane topic. Like, it's just a terribly boring topic, but it's also an incredibly complicated topic because city to city, state to state, property taxes change. And what they charge you for even changes. It's not even a matter of everybody doesn't even have the same label for it. They call it different things. You've got different ways that the state and the city charge you money depending upon where you are for owning a piece of property. And since every single place is different, if let's say you're moving from Denver into Los Angeles, yeah, that's something you're going to want to talk to somebody about before you buy a damn home, because, and you're going to want to know, you're going to have a lot of questions. You're going to be like, well, I don't care that it comes out to be 9.5%. What's the city of Los Angeles actually charging me for? And that's what we talk about. We break it down, and then we do graphs and charts and make it easily understandable so that you know each section of what you're paying and the place that you can call if you have questions about it. Like the city and the state, the place that actually charges you the tax in the first place.
Okay.
I'm done with that. I can keep going. I mean, I can keep talking to you about
So so on the websites that you're creating, you actually create that data and help people put that on their websites.
Correct. So what we do is we build the platform, the destination. So we build the site. And then what we do is we create all the information that goes on the site. So yes, like blog posts, neighborhood pages, all the neighborhood data, all the listing data, all the information about the realtor. Not only that, we do something called Knowledge Center, which is where we talk about all the businesses, all the services, all the schools, we put all that information on the site for the client. We research it all. We research what the best schools are, what the best restaurants are, everything. We create custom maps. We do maps by zip code searches. Everything I'm talking about, we create for the client. These are all incredibly deep, detailed pieces of information that we throw onto their site so that when somebody comes to it, they're dealing with an experience that they've never had before in terms of a real estate website. But then, in addition to all of that, we also send the signals to the search engines that they need to figure out what we already know, that this is a special destination, that if people come here, they're gonna spend more time at this destination than other destinations. And there's signals that you have to send. There's social signals that you have to send. There's backlinks that have to be built. There's guest blog posts that you have to write on other people's real estate related websites that you then send traffic from those sites back to this site.
Hmm.
We do all of that too. So yes, we
Cool.
do we do it all.
So if you want to learn more about Inbound REM, the website is
Actually, the word inbound, INBOUND, and then Robert Edward Michael. So it's inboundrem.com.
stands for real estate marketing. So yeah,
Yes.
so
Yep.
definitely Robert has a lot of experience. So go to inboundrem.com, check it out. His website's pretty good. I think you have to go through some screening process in order to talk to Robert. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes. Yes, you do. Though right now there's not much of a screen. It's a little quiet currently, but as I've been telling all my users, and I'll tell you too, this is a great time to research how to
Yeah,
develop great content of your own and do great content. And I have tons of information on my website that you don't have to talk to me or register or do anything for. It's free. Just go there like learn, because now is a better time than ever to be sitting in your house creating great answers for questions that your clients have.
yeah, good point. I mean, so now is the downtime. It's a good time to start looking at your website, different things that you can start to do. Check them out, inboundrem.com. Thank you for spending this half hour with us today, Robert, telling us your story. I appreciate it. We'll have you back on again so you can tell us some tips and tricks about inbound marketing. How does that sound?
That would be lovely, Dee. And for
Awesome.
those that are in, bye guys. I'm gonna wrap this up as I wrap up the other.
All right, so if there's any tech, product, or company that you want to learn more about, let me know. If you're watching live, you can stick it in the chat box over here. If you're watching the recording, send it in the comments below. Everybody, again, please, as you're sitting home, this is probably something that would be good to watch, but please stay safe. Thank you, everybody, for watching. This has been Capture the World with Dee. I'll see you next week. Bye bye.
Bye everybody.